Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here. We are going to get into this. We're going to talk about getting wrecked with XRP. We're going to talk about the new XRPL proposal. What exactly is AMM? And why is David Schwartz going to an Ethereum conference? We got to get into that. I want to know. I want to know why David Schwartz is going to an Ethereum conference over there in Denver. So we're going to find out about that. Then we're going to dig a little bit into the news. Got a lot of stuff to cover. So as Chip says, we are going to dive headfirst into the shallow end for what? For maximum impact. A lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff. I'm excited. I want to dig into this. I want to go straight into some XRP news. We want to figure out, what does it mean? Hey, I got wrecked by XRP. And I think everybody out there probably has an inkling. I'm sure they have that same feeling. But let's get into this. How are we going to get this started? There we go. I think we got it. You guys ready? I'm ready. So let's kick this thing off. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome to On the Chain. That's right. Make sure you guys grab your coffee. Make sure it's strong. You got to get the strong coffee. Get that espresso. Go and check out Badass Yeti's coffee. Go to badassyetiscoffee.com and get some Obsidian Bold. It's rich. It's strong. It's powerful. It gets your morning going right away, and you'll appreciate it. So let's get into this. We're going to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. We're going to talk a little bit about XRP. Let me bounce over here to Rumble. I want to make sure I got the Rumble open. Anybody that's over there watching on Rumble, I want to make sure we got Mel V over there already in the chat. So anybody else that's going to be joining us on Rumble, if that is your platform of choice, go check us out over on Rumble. And waiting for our one and only Twitch viewer to show up, because right now there's nobody in the Twitch room. I'm not sure what's going on there. We're over on X, we're on YouTube, we're on Rumble. We're pulling in from all the platforms. And it's nice too, because if you're typing over here, we can see all the commentary on StreamYard everywhere except for what you guessed it, Rumble. It doesn't come into this platform. So, all right, let's dig in. Let's dig right in. So now here's a question for you. Where do you think XRP is going to go over the next quarter? So from now through, and we're pretty much all the way at the end of month number 1 in Q1 of 2024. What is the possibility of XRP moving from the 52 cents that it's sitting at all the way to whatever that number might be over the next, let's say, 2 months? Or let's say, does it have the possibility of maybe a little bit longer? Now, I went onto Twitter. I said, hey, I wonder what people are talking about over on Twitter in regards to the price point of XRP. And I'll tell you, I was a little bit, well, there was no shock because this has been going on a long time. There's a lot of commentary over there, a lot of known names that I see. Everyone has some feedback as to where they think it can go. And right now, so it's sitting Kelly Slade. That's right. Okay, it's at 53 cents right now. It's getting pumped big time. Let me share my screen. I find this interesting, and this is where I think everyone gets a little bit wrecked. And there was actually, a funny post on that too. So we're gonna pull that up. But I want to start with this one. Now, Jack the Rippler says XRP will create millionaires. Now, if we look at the platform, we look at the XRPL, and overall, you say, hey, you know what? The XRPL is probably one of the most intricate, detailed chains that are out there. The technology that was baked into XRPL is pretty outstanding. So we look at the XRPL and we say, hey, if XRP is being utilized and we have more building going on utilizing the XRPL, the sky's the limit. I mean, there could be, it's going to be impressive to see where it goes. XRP was in that top 3 back at the height. We're talking about 2017, 2018, reached all-time highs of like $3 and what, 60 cents, something like that. You guys can correct me. You want to go back in the history books of 2017 is exactly where that's at. So now here we're looking over here. So the first one that comes up is all-time high loading, $100. So we got right now, there's the moon. The moon is $100 according to this one. and everyone's like super fired up. Why? Because we got AMM, we got some other new things that were proposed on the XRPL. And then David Schwartz is going to Denver to an Ethereum conference, and we'll talk about that one in a little bit. Okay, so we got $100 on the book. Okay, now how about, what if we say, um, let's see, what is this one going to come up? Oh, here we go. How about we put this one at somewhere between $20 to $27 possible within the next 2 months because of all these lines and triangles and things like that. Now, just look at the chart. At the chart with this nice straight line over here and a bunch of triangles. And I guess if you guys are chart readers and chart creators, maybe this makes more sense. But I'm looking at this as a prediction of $20 to $27. Is that possible? We're still sitting at 53 cents. So we're talking about 20 over the next 2 months. Now, House of XRP says, brother, same thing goes for 25 cents in the same time frame. Just look down, aim the arrow down, and you're at 20 cents, right? Exactly. So that's interesting. You can manipulate, you can change it. Now, $27. Now, at the end of the day, what else do people have to say? And then I'm going to give some feedback and commentary on this as well. And keep pushing in some of your ideas where you think it's going to be. And then I also be great if you guys give a quick shout out to where you're tuning in from. We have people tuning in from all over the world, which is outstanding. We got people here in the US, some people come in from Canada, South America, over in Europe, over in the Middle East, over in Australia, over in Asia. We got people coming in from all over the place. So it's awesome to see the community at large. So give a quick shout out to where you're tuning in from. Now, okay, so we had same commentary. We started at $100, and now we have some commentary here on what does this analyst confirm. Now I'm not going to dig into this crypto news flash because there's some of these websites and you get into them, you want to read the news and you look at it, and the crypto analyst is just another Twitter social media influencer that's talking about, hey, I think it has a potential of reaching $4.99. So here we go. Another analyst by Q1 of 2024. Now, by Q1, we're already into Q1. So let's say by the end of Q1. So now we've gone $100, $20 to $27, $499 based on this analyst. And then now we're going to look at another comment here. And this is all coming in right around the same time frame. Everyone's throwing out some ideas of where they think this might end up. Now, here's another one. Do you believe a parabolic pump is on the way for XRP? Parabolic. Now, if we're at 53 cents and it goes to $1, it's doubling. To me, that's parabolic. It goes 53 cents to 70 something cents and it's going up by 20. That could be parabolic too. What exactly does it mean by parabolic pump? What? And so here's some commentary. Not any longer. I used to believe that. What other comments? So here's another one. Look, boom, XRP's pumping 53 cents, up 3%, on the day right there. And that was yesterday. It was pumping at 3% gain. 3% is not bad. It's not a shabby gain. Okay. So what do we got here? Parabolic pump potentially on the way, right? We have $4.99 based on some analysts. We've got $20 to $27 in the next 2 months, and we got $100, all within the same time frame. And let's see what else we have here. Now, here's another comment, and I'm wondering, how people are coming up, or they come up with these numbers based on chart reading or whatever it might be. XRP Whale saying, XRP, this is the final dip before a massive move to $7 to $13. I'm positive. Now, doesn't say what that time period is. Maybe it's on the way. Maybe there's the last stage. Maybe it's going to incrementally go up over the next year. Don't know. It doesn't really put a statement on that. But here we go. We've got over and over and over. So here's Analyze Bet Win says, don't you ever get tired of talking out of your rear end? I'm not trying to knock anyone that's commenting. I just want to kind of make light of the fact that, there's so many people talking about the price point of XRP, and it's been going on for a long time. We had the Riddlers. It was a lot of fun back in 17, 18, 19, I guess, time frame. And then, there was just a lot of, then we had the Bears and all these things that were going on in the space. What is very clear overall is that the market kind of transitions and moves together. It doesn't move separately. There are other external influences. So let's look at this one. And this is where, do you get wrecked? How do you get wrecked by XRP? And here we go. So let's see here. Let's pull this one up. When Moon, me turning to riddles every year for answers after getting wrecked by XRP. And there you go with the bearable guy, right? So we had all these great riddles and the bears, and there was a lot of videos being made on, a lot of tweets that used to go out on it. Now it's X posts, but this feeling, right? This has been kind of the trend since 2017, 2018, where as it went up to its height and the whole market kind of came crashing down, the markets go up. Then obviously we have reality sinks in, and the reality was the SEC case. So we have the Bitcoin market trending. 3 years ago, everything was going up. XRP was going over $1, is like at $1.20. Then all of a sudden, they file the lawsuit against Ripple, and they make a claim that XRP was considered a security, and the XRP market kind of got subdued, crashed, came way down while the whole market was trending up. And obviously we see where Bitcoin went, and it kept during this lawsuit period, it was keeping XRP oppressed or suppressed in price point. So, but let me turn to what do we got here? Commentary here. Where are people tuning in from? Let's see. Let's see. What's the prediction? When is AMM expected? We're going to talk about AMM also. XRP new all-time high. That's right. Let's see when it gets there. That'll be interesting. Kelly Slate in Florida. We've got Colorado. We've got Vero Beach. We got Tampa. Check that out. Look how much Florida we got in here right now. Got Florida all over the place. We're covering all of Florida, which is awesome. We got the UK. We've got Orlando. Kelly Slade commenting again on that one. Go on, guys. Throw in some more commentary in terms of where you guys are tuning in from. Love to hear that. And now let's go down. Let's see. Up. JB Heavy Equipment is saying next week up to 59 cents. One more drop to the lows, then we rip. So let's see where that goes. Let's see if XRP hits that 59, 60 cent mark. It's a little bit of excitement there. Let's see. Crypto Bag XRP Whale has said this is final for years, and that's another interesting point. All the commentary, and we have a lot of new people that are coming into the space right now. So you think about when you came in and kind of that excitement, and the commentary in terms of this is it. This is going to be the point. This is going to be the ignition switch. Now it's going to take off. It's going to happen within 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. By end of year, all this stuff. And then one thing that is definitely certain with the XRP digital asset is that it's probably one of the most stable currencies. Once it hits that stability point, it doesn't fluctuate a lot. It just kind of just stays consistent, which is interesting, really interesting. Jim D's listening to us in 2x speed. ETA is going to be in about 2 minutes. So maybe you can bump that up a little, do 3x speed. That'll be fun. There you go. Not much in crypto land. There you go. See, crypto land is, it's more interesting what's going on right now in politics that could potentially impact crypto land and everything that we're doing to invest and to see if they're going to, do anything crazy. So Jose saying XRP hodler since 2018, never made money. Biggest losers of the bull run 2021. Exactly. Big losers there in that 2021 bull run as that lawsuit was filed and it just kept it oppressed. Now we can go right back to the SEC and say, hey, SEC, you guys kind of meddled in this investment and it was detrimental. Lawsuit. What was the lawsuit outcome though? Which was, I think, imperative. Sometimes we're so hyper focused on the timeline that if we look at the market as a whole, there's a whole brand new financial asset class developed over the past 10 years, 10, 11, 12 years, right? Bitcoin 2010, XRP 2012, 2013, 2014. And then, we have the Ethereum and then you have everything else starts blossoming from there. But if we look at that path and we look at that timeline of growth, And we see where we're at today versus where we were 2017, 2018. The Riddlers were fun, right? And it was an exciting time right then. And that was kind of my entry point was 2017. And I had discovered Bitcoin back in 2014. And that's the crazy part about it. As I kind of watch the market grow and then kind of forget about it for a little while, and then it starts to explode and the media gets on board, and then the media turns negative against it when it went over that cliff, beginning of 2018. And then then we start the real journey, because the building in this space starts to transpire, and then all of a sudden you see all the in-depth work that Ripple is doing, regardless of the lawsuit they were going through. And you would think that the lawsuit would have been so oppressive to a company and they had to spend $150 million to defend, and the suit's basically still, it's still going on. And the SEC is getting more damaging, and the judge keeps smacking the SEC down. And you see an overreach by Gary Gensler trying to assert himself and establish power position, not just over Ripple, but over the industry at large. And then the pushback and the resistance. But I'll tell you, out of all the companies that were out there, there was only one company that was really in a position to defend not just themselves, but to establish precedent and defend the crypto industry. And that was Ripple. And you look at kind of where Jeremy Kaufman ended up with Library, and the damage that it caused his company. And before that was Kick with the Kin token, and those guys were peddling and selling an unregistered security. And there's just kind of a litany of these small companies, and then you start to see the attacks, and Ripple was like kind of that central figure company, the central point where the SEC probably felt that if they're able to take down Ripple, if they can take down XRP as a digital asset, then they can either control or they'll dictate the final outcome of where cryptocurrency goes, or they'll try to decimate the majority of the crypto market, where they're going to then hyper focus on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But what happened, what transpired is an outcome of part of the case is that Judge Torres rules that XRP is a non-security. Now, forget about what Ripple did or didn't do. XRP, the asset itself, outcome that it's not a security. So that was a major outcome. It doesn't just help the Ripple as a company and the XRPL and the RippleNet software that they're developing to move money and transition large sums of money between banks, and utilizing XRP as a liquidity tool. I mean, there's so much to that, but think about the market at large, again, still in its infancy. And that's where the XRP asset is so vital overall, because it is the central figure in this massive lawsuit that was launched by the SEC. And then you saw that the original person that launched it leaves, right, resigns. But then the mantle was carried for 3 years by Gary Gensler, who essentially was trying to dictate, control, and decimate the industry, and continue that way right up to the approval of the Bitcoin ETF. And the only reason why he voted in favor of the Bitcoin ETF is because the court ordered him to do that. Otherwise, he would have continued down this path to continue delaying, pushing it out, allow the industry to either implode or extend out the timeline until his buddies in the financial institution space could get involved. And you think about all of the impact that they've had, right? You have obviously Gary Gensler, and then you have the JP Morgan crowd. But then from a political perspective, you have Elizabeth Warren, you had Maxine Waters, you have all these players that were delaying, postponing, not giving any voice whatsoever to any law that was being presented, any act that was being presented by Congress within and we still don't really see any outcome, right? So you had Warren Davidson a couple of years back with the Token Taxonomy Act, and it came in a couple of times. Maxine Waters didn't even give it the sight of day. I mean, just the light of day, just nothing. It was presented, and it just basically died. It just died in the Financial Services Committee. They gave it no light whatsoever. Now, if they could resurrect something of that significance and get some very significant legislation put through, the question would have been, does it then transact and get through the Senate? And this was like, the biggest concern, but we haven't really seen some massive legislation that could have amazing outcome. What we did see, again, I'll go back to the outcome of the lawsuit, and that was very instrumental because it took a judge ruling to make a determination on the XRP asset. Now, based on government feedback, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and now due to a judge ruling, XRP are the three that are really deemed to be non-security. Now we have a Bitcoin ETF. So the market is moving, but all this hyperbole and what just people just making these comments of just throwing stuff out there in terms of you know price point at $100, at $27, at $13, at $4.99, at 500. Obviously, people like to comment about 589 because that goes back to the Riddler and the Bears and the 589 and the significance. Then we have all this commentary about buybacks and $10,000 XRP. It's exciting. People love talking about that, but then let's become a little bit more grounded, come back into reality, and then look at the transition point of where the crypto market is today, where it's going. Seeing that overall it's still kind of in its toddler stage, NFT market kind of in its infancy stage. Don't know exactly the direction the NFT space can go, but we have certainty that XRP is a non-security. Now, what's going to happen and transpire with the market as a whole, this is kind of the way I look at it. Stock market, crypto market, when we start seeing big movement, which is positive news, which my transition point, my pivot point for positive news is going to be when Trump is actually considered as the candidate for the Republican Party to then run against whoever the left is putting up, the blue team, whether it's Biden or somebody else. But that's going to be a pivot point because that's going to create excitement in the space. There's going to be anticipation. There's going to be economic revival anticipation that the market is going to have a very positive outlook across the board. We're talking about lower interest rate potential. We're talking about lower gas price potential. We're talking about production of and drilling for oil and production of gas product in the United States. We're talking about becoming more self-reliant. We're talking about sealing the border. We're talking about this whole notion of positivity, which will reverberate through the market. And as that positivity reverberates through the market, we're also going to see positivity going back into the crypto space, which means a push of Bitcoin to higher levels. And as the Bitcoin assets, whether through ETF or direct investment in Bitcoin, when that starts hitting all-time highs, guess where the rest of the market's going? The whole market is going to trend into a very positive kind of bull run region. But I think that's the impetus. That's what's going to happen. We have to have positivity, because if people are worried about their everyday expense other than trying to save their money, right? So we have people in other countries that are looking at how do you save your money? How do you protect your assets, from hyperinflation? And we saw that in Lebanon. We saw that in Venezuela. We see that in countries around the world where they have hyperinflation. And the people there are like, holy crap, even if I put it into Bitcoin, even with the ups and downs and the inconsistency in the market, I'm going to be safer because overall the trend is positive with Bitcoin. But I'm going to have my money's going to be safer there than facing hundreds or thousands of percent inflation in their own currency, especially when they don't have ability to put it someplace else. So they're looking at it like as a savior. Michael Saylor is saying the same thing, and I'll pull up a tweet on that also. But let me go back. I kind of got a little far out. But Mark Smithson saying 20,000 XRP by Tuesday. There we go. I like that one. By Tuesday. We got to love Tuesday. Jim D. I think the technical analysis guys are all in on optimism to keep view clicks. I agree. It's always clickbait. I love it. I get sucked in on clickbait too. I'll be watching videos, especially the shorts. You kind of flip through, but you kind of get sucked in on an ad, on an article, or whatever it is, because you want to see it. You want to be excited. So Mr. Q, XRP, a stable coin, commenting. I kind of agree with that. All right, let me scroll back to the bottom, and then we can backtrack a little bit. But Trump buying XRP, maybe that's possible. Maybe he is. That'd be interesting. Matt Ash, yeah, I'd agree. There'd been some stuff happening, like the closed doors. Okay, let's see. Who's this? Who's this guy here? Chip. He likes 1881, 1981. We're going all the way back to 1881. How about that? Mr. Q is saying Ripple is an accomplice in the whole XRP shenanigans. That, it could be really interesting. So we have two things happening right now. You have the Stellar Foundation and you have Ripple working through the XRPL, and Ripple is very focused on their software being a center point for central bank digital currencies. Now, the Stellar Foundation is doing the exact same thing. They want to be kind of a central point of their software, being the basis for central bank digital currencies. But I think the Stellar Foundation and their platform has actually been utilized to create kind of a private chain that is still more centralized than decentralized. But we'll see where that falls. Do we want a third party that is creating the software as the backbone for a central bank digital currency, or do you want a government-owned software company that's if we're already moving it, and Great Britain is already moving in that direction, that they're looking and developing it. And I'll pull that article up in a minute. Yeah. But would you rather have the country themselves controlling it, or having some third party intermediary that, potentially is responsible to the public, and it should be a publicly traded company at that point, not a private company? I don't know. I mean, that could be kind of an in-depth. I'd rather not have it at all, but it's kind of, it's kind of happening. It could break down. So let's see. Monkey business. I've always said charts don't work. It's either good news or bad news that moves the market. I'm sure there's certain chart analysis, especially if you shrink down the time frame and they start looking over when you have the day traders, and they're shrinking down their perspective of moving averages, and they're looking at company based. And I'm sure there's a way to do it. They do it in FX as well. There's obviously certain algorithms you can use to help identify certain volatile stocks, or stocks that are getting ready to pump, and you can find them and you can chart it and you can graph it, and you can, try to come as close as you can to making a prediction. And if you're right 70% of the time, you win. If you're wrong 70% of the time, you're not going to be doing so well. So, you want to definitely make sure that you can, but I find it difficult, like within the crypto space, and I'm not a chart reader. I don't create these charts or anything like that, or even trying to use technical analysis on digital asset. I tried that back in 17, using same philosophy on stock trading to trying to trade crypto in the beginning. I found it was difficult. But in the beginning, when you're in a bull cycle, it doesn't matter. Whatever you buy goes up, but trying to identify, I'm kind of on your side with that too. I just don't think there's too many variable, and the prediction that's it. You're just it's almost guesswork based on just strictly volume. What other indicator is influencing? If you look at a stock, there's all sorts of influence on that stock that could impact it. Obviously, some of it's false news that's being pushed by the media to either get you to buy or sell the stock. But then then you have company news, and so there's different periods of time where you may or may not want to buy or sell, whatever. Financial reports, all these different things that will impact and influence Then you have crypto, which was probably trending more like FX, but with crypto, what's the influence other than looking at volume? What are people buying? What aren't they buying? Is the market positive? Is the market negative? How are you getting an indicator? And that would be a blockchain backer question. So we'd have to ask him very, very precisely. It would be interesting, and I'm sure he goes into it on his show, and he's very good at that. So I'm not going to get into detail on. I don't know enough about it. More Monkey Business says charts are there for a distraction because the house has always got to win. There you go. That's interesting. That's interesting. So, all right, let's go. Hey, so I brought this up. Oh, there's the Digital Pound article, but I brought this one up. Why is David Schwartz going to Ethereum conference? What's going on over there? Let's pull this one up. Let me go over to Rumble real quick. See if we got some. Where's the comment screen? Here we go. Here we go. We got One Eye Willie is on. Thomas 73 is on, coming in from Atlanta. That's very cool. One Eye Willie's coming in from Migrant City. Welcome. Thomas was saying, being a novice investor, I made a big mistake when XRP went to $1.92. I had to go in around 17 cents, but I was caught up in the FOMO. I could have sold half, double my original investment, and add half my XRP. And that's the when is the time? And I think that to me is where, when the investors go in, it's a little bit of guesswork. Are you a buy and hold? And are you holding for the long term? Is this a buy and hold for the next 10 years to see where the market trends and putting money again that you don't mind? Hey, if you lose the money, it's not the end of the world. But are we looking for that kind of timeline and then trying to dollar cost average your buy? I mean, if it goes down, you buy. If it goes up, you buy. Comes back down. Your dollar cost averaging across the board. You're accumulating to what you want your accumulation point to be, and then you just hold it. And as the market develops, say, hey, could be amazing. Or are you trying to guess the market and you're trying to sell at its high and try to buy back in at a low? And I don't think, even with stuff, you can never guess the top or the bottom. That's difficult. You can start predicting that it's going to have a turnaround. And if you buy when it's coming bouncing off the bottom a little bit, that's probably a good point. And where's your top sell point? Do you sell it? Can you put a trailing stop on a crypto that's so volatile? I mean, that's the scary part. That's, the buy and hold concept just seems just easier. just makes more sense. But Sophie's saying we have researched XRP from Codius 589 to Bearable Guy and still don't know what will push it up except payments. I tend to agree. Utility of the market. Bitcoin, why are people, Bitcoin is all just accumulation. It's I don't want to say Bitcoin, the buying of Bitcoin is FOMO, scarcity. People are looking at Bitcoin like gold. I think, industry, obviously Michael Saylor he's got a huge amount of money in the treasury of MicroStrategy. We see El Salvador has a lot of Bitcoin in their treasury. I think all treasuries, we have corporate treasury and then company and countries would do well putting a certain percentage of their treasury in crypto asset because crypto asset, the overall trend from 10 years ago is more positive than any other investment that exists, even at the point where we're at now, even at the lower point where XRP was at whatever it was, over $3, 360 or whatever it sat at that end of month, December 2017, going into beginning of 2018 in this positive note. Then it came out. But if you think about where it was before that, and this is interesting, there were months where XRP hovered in the 20 to 27 the 20 cent to 27 cent range back in 2017. And it would just bounce around in between. Every so often it would dip to 19, then it would go up to 24, 25, then it would stick and hover. But overall, it's probably XRP was extremely stable when it found its point. And I find that to be interesting. I find that to be a really interesting dynamic in the crypto space at large. But all the entire industry, everything follows Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin trended to 20,000, the market trended up. When Bitcoin trended to 60,000, the market was positive and trended up. And everything was firing on all cylinders, except for, you guessed it, right? XRP was the only one because of an artificial influence, which was the lawsuit by the SEC. So, all right, let's go. Oh, I was getting ready to talk about, okay, why is Joel Katz, David Schwartz, why is he going to the ETH conference? So he's saying, join me at the first XRPL zone of the year at ETH Denver. Come hear me talk about blockchain interoperability and dive into the latest XRPL advancements, including EVM programmability. Hope to see you there. And here's the registration. There you go. XRPL Ledger Zone at ETH Denver. This is the first time. So we're going to say an interoperability. This is so key. I'm glad that that David Schwartz is talking about interoperability in the space at large. And this is something with Flare. Flare, talks a lot about interoperability and creating these smart contracts that can utilize multiple asset. And for David Schwartz to really focus in on how can you have EVM programmability, but more importantly, how do we get blockchains to work with each other? That is a key point. As soon as you get and you have a platform with multiple blockchains interworking with each other. So we're working, create a smart contract, an initiative over here with Ethereum, and then you need to transact it over to the XRPL. Well, hey, guess what? We have interoperability. We can allow that to happen. We can have smooth transition. And the interoperability aspect, that's a game changer. That will really determine massive adoption on a scale that we probably haven't seen before. Because you're already seeing countries, again, looking at the Bitcoin, investment specifically in Bitcoin. But think about the Bitcoin blockchain, and then creating some interoperability with the XRPL. Think about what the company Spend the Bits has done, moving Bitcoin through the XRPL at pennies on the dollar. If you can transact Bitcoin through the XRPL, and you can do it cheaper than if you're moving Bitcoin direct person to person. It's easier to move it through the XRPL, faster, cheaper, more efficient. That's interesting. Now you get the blockchains that communicate with each other and work together, and you take the best components of each one of these elements. Now all of a sudden, we're definitely onto something, which is massive, which I think is really, really great. Here's some other comments over here. Mr. Q might buy some XRP today. There you go. XRP needs 8 to 10% from total market cap to hit an all-time high. And there you go. And it's going to be about volume. It's going to be about the volume of buy-in. And that's going to be, and that's not a massive move. But from where we're at sitting right now, man, 53 cents to get up over $3. I believe we're at least going to go, start heading in a very positive direction. Let Bitcoin start making some massive movement again. It's got to get back over its all-time high and on its way to 70,000 or 80,000 when that trend happens. And it's interesting watching Bitcoin also, because if we think when things hit the low, Bitcoin is just sitting right now in that $39,000 to $43,000 range. When it was at its previous points, it was hovering and sitting around like 19 to low 20s. And when it first hit 20,000 the first time, it moved all the way back to 3,000, then came back and kind of hovered in that $7,000 to $8,000, $9,000 range until it got, big movements again. And that big bull run movement, it's just all guesswork. It's excitement. It's FOMO. None of that had to do with any kind of form of utility. It's just expectation in the marketplace, value, what the perceived value is at that moment in time. And there you go. We've got crypto bag boy says moving BTC or any other high fee crypto through XRPL makes a lot of sense. but why not just use XRP instead? And I believe that's going to come down to preference. People are going to want to have different assets, but if you hold Bitcoin, especially because of its value, and you're a Bitcoin holder and you've accumulated Bitcoin because that's where you predict the biggest gains are going to be. That's why you're holding Bitcoin. You don't want to then sell Bitcoin for XRP to transact it to someone else, or you don't want to go and buy XRP to move it. You have Bitcoin. So I want to move my Bitcoin, to somebody else, and I can do it through Spend the Bits that's using the XRPL. That's mainly up. But if you have to go out and buy something to then, and you had to move money, so let's say you're moving $100,000 from point A to point B, and you're in fiat, so you want to move it. You can use. Hopefully, your banking system is using RippleNet, and everything will transact through the XRPL, utilizing XRP, utilizing the liquidity, moving your money in seconds, and do it efficiently and cheaply, and the recipient will get it right away, where they're not waiting as an international transaction, where they're not waiting 3 to 5 days and in hopes that it's actually going to complete. But if you know the person and you're sitting 100,000 in Bitcoin, 100,000 valued in XRP, and you want to move it, then you're just going to move it, and the person's going to get it, and you're going to transact it. You can use with the Zaman wallet if you have XRP. You can do it through Coinbase. You can do it through Uphold. You can move it whatever you probably have a limitation, through your platform, and you have to move it in chunks. But again, I find it's amazing. I mean, all the technology is just super, super exciting. It's great. Clownface, I'm happy when people lose. Why would you be happy when people lose money in crypto? That makes no sense whatsoever. That makes no sense. Mr. Q saying now 100% in altcoins, more gains than Bitcoin. Yeah. It just depends on what you were in or what you're getting into at this point. Where's your biggest percentage moves? So that's interesting. Jared saying you can't just move it. If you move 10,000, better tell that. Yeah. So, and that's always been the point, right? 10,000 has always been a trigger. Always move less. 9,000. Always stay under whatever that threshold is. And then, and I think that's kind of common sense. Clownface, what's fiat? Fiat, yeah, would be, just currency, so just assume it's currency. That's all. Currency. What backs up crypto? That's a good point. What backs it up? The decentralized framework. What backs up fiat currency? What backs up the US dollar other than the government as an IOU? How do you know it's truly valuable? What backed up the Bolívar in Venezuela that had millions of percent inflation? What backed up the Lebanese, whatever their currency was? I don't know, the dinar or whatever else. What backs all of that stuff up? Expectation. What's backing up Bitcoin? Scarcity and acceptance. People have accepted Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, as a medium of value. It has scarcity. It's transacting over a decentralized blockchain framework, and there's acceptance. So that's the beginning. So if you have acceptance of that, it's scarce, it's available. It can't be replicated. You can't make more of it. It's finite. Same thing with XRP. It's finite. There's only a certain amount that will ever be available, and it's burning. And it's so that's a that's a big component of it. So Mr. Q is saying fiat will always be there. Otherwise, how are you going to measure crypto? That's a good point. So for the time being, it's definitely, and you get to a point, imagine we get to a point where we move away from fiat. I don't see that happening. I don't see countries giving up their sovereign currency, especially the larger countries. If you have countries that are facing massive inflation, maybe a country like El Salvador, where they say, look, we're going to accept Bitcoin. I think they're better off putting the assets into their treasury. They want to make it available as a legalized tender. That's awesome. But the countries themselves, U.S., the majority of the countries in the world aren't going to give up their sovereign access to their own currency. That would be crazy. So, but here's one right here. So let's see if this, nope, they're not. Why can't it kills me. I can open these articles on my phone. Then I transition over here. But here, I guess I'll share a little bit of it. Can't get into the article, but this is over on Bloomberg. Britain starts design work on a digital version of the pound. Treasury and Bank of England haven't yet made a final decision. Privacy and security of transactions remain a concern. And this is really the biggest issue of the central bank digital currency. It's going to be privacy and security. Security, I'm sure they can figure out, but privacy, I like how they lump privacy and security together. I'm sure they could figure out the security part. That to me, if you're using your bank right now, you're using an app or whatever it is to move money. People use Venmo, people use Zelle, whatever. There's security of transaction kind of built into it. Now, privacy, you get into a central bank digital currency. Who owns the wallet? Who distributes the wallet? Who controls the wallet? That's where the privacy becomes a major concern. So if Britain is rolling out, hey, this is awesome. We have the digital pound. By the way, you have to use the official digital wallet that is only available from the government, from the Treasury, from the Bank of England, from whoever it is. They have full control. You then lose all access to privacy in transaction. That it's gone. They control it. They can monitor it. They can see it. There's no dispute. You can say, well, a credit card. Now, if it's, through the bank, but if the government has full control over the distribution of the wallet, then that's it. Your privacy is null and void, and you can pretty much forget about that part. That's it. I wasn't even sharing this. Thought I was sharing it, but there you go. Share it briefly. Look at the S&P index. The S&P 500, man, it's up 2.25%. That's pretty good. Even NASDAQ's up, but Dow is getting crushed. Look at that, man. Didn't even notice that. All right, so let's go on. Let us go on here. $1 billion. Anybody who has anything to do with Ethereum, not Ethereum, sorry, Celsius. Celsius, let me put this article up. Celsius just moved $1 billion in Ethereum over to CEX. Let's see, where did they move it to? Coinbase Prime, Paxos, and Falcon X wallets. They had 13 transactions, get them to the centralized exchanges. 443,961 ETH. They moved over to Coinbase, Paxos, and Falcon X. Now the question is, are they getting ready? Are they getting ready for repayment? Right. Obviously, there was a lot of money tied up over in Celsius when they filed for bankruptcy. They have a plan. They have a plan of getting people out of it and actually cashing people out to try to make people whole. And that's going to be a little bit over 70% of whatever you're holding. Some people are getting their assets back directly. Others are getting, not going to get Bitcoin. It'll come in probably in Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those are probably the two currencies they'll transfer it over to people: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and actual stock shares in the new company that they created. So you'll probably get a percentage of stock, and then a percentage of it in Bitcoin or Ethereum, or potentially maybe a combination of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But the fact that they moved $1 billion in Ethereum might very well, as the article is saying, is this all based on repayment? And they're moving it over to exchanges that'll make it easy potentially to transact and transfer money. But those are big numbers. That's a really big number. We're looking at these transactions. That's a big deal. Let's see. They moved 575. Only 2 days earlier, they moved 575,000 ETH on January 24th. They have an address labeled Celsius Network, staked ETH, and Celsius. And here we go. Overall, they've moved 757,626 ETH to Falcon X, Coinbase, OKX, and Paxos since November 13th. They've been moving a lot, so they've been really accumulating over there. They still hold 62,000, about $138 million value. That's interesting. So we'll see where it goes. I really hope that we have a date of distribution back to the creditor. So here we expect the distribution of liquid crypto to earned creditors to start in mid-February. So if you're an earned creditor, that's where you potentially get some distribution back. That's what they're talking about. The distribution will be open for 1 year. So if it starts mid-February, we'll see. We're coming up quick, so that's 2 weeks from now. So, mid 2-3 weeks, we'll see if this really happens. Power, when you say aiming and expect, that tells me these dates are not solid. Exactly. That's pretty much it. So anyone who is invested, me included, waiting to see that something happens. This is coming from Celsius Nuco. So the question is, how is that going to be distributed? Is it Ethereum? Is it Bitcoin? And is it actual stock in this new company? And that's it. That's Celsius. That's kind of where we stand at this point in time with that. So I think we're getting a lot closer with that point. Now we're talking about Bitcoin. I had mentioned Michael Saylor, so I want to bring this up because this is the important point. Michael Saylor is saying, store your money someplace safe, Bitcoin. That's pretty much his commentary. Asvoria over here, Solana pre-sale. I don't know what their platform is over here. Looks like a game, some sort. Wise word sailor. In a world where financial security is paramount, storing wealth in Bitcoin represents a forward-thinking approach. As a digital store of value, Bitcoin offers a unique blend of security, accessibility, and independence from traditional financial blah, 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 blah. We don't have to open it. And there you go. Is it Bitcoin? Is it XRP? Is the ledger safe? Is there an issue? What are all the things going on? And there you go. I like this one from Bitcoin Magazine. Just in, Bitcoin is up over 5% since Jim Cramer was bearish on it yesterday. That everything, you hear him do the opposite, and that's how it works. Jim Cramer, another date, another chance to roll out of Bitcoin while the number go up club tries to keep it at 40,000. This guy talks like he knows what he's doing. This guy, he's always corrupting the system. If he tells you to buy something, don't buy it, sell it. It's like the big institutions have already bought in. All the power brokers have already bought in. By the time he recommends it, they're selling, and they're selling their bags. They bought at the low. You're buying at the high, and that's always seems to be the commentary. And he's wrong on Bitcoin. He's been wrong on the crypto space, and it's just crazy to watch. It's just crazy to watch the implosion. Let's see. Look at that, Scotty. I'd love to see the facial reaction of people in the audience at the ETH event when David Schwartz tell them they can use XRPL with minimal gas. That'll be amazing. The one thing that kills me about Ethereum is that it's so expensive to use it and to move it. Anytime I've ever tried to use Ethereum, the gas fees are outrageous. Now, if there was a spend the bits for Ethereum, and we can easily move that from one point to the other, it'll be awesome. It really would be. So that'll be. I would like to see a lot of different assets that you can utilize and move through the XRPL. That will just be awesome. So, all right. Let's see. Let me see. Here's another one I found. We didn't even get to AMM. Let me pull this one up. Actually, I already had it up. Let's talk about AMM in the last minutes here. Hang on a second. Let's pull this up. So Panos, what is an AMM? Now, there's a lot of discussion over it. Thanks, Chip, for sharing this one. But what is it? What is an AMM? And actually, if we look at the AMM, there was another tweet that someone posted um, right before this one. And I find it interesting too, because his comment was XRPL, AMM. What if I told you in the end, you won't have to cash out? Now, that's been commentary from the beginning and discussion and argument. Everyone's looking for the off ramp, and that's been talked about on all the big podcasts. All the big YouTubers had talked about it from the early days. What's your off ramp? Make sure you have off ramps. Make sure you can get your asset out when it goes up. You can off ramp it, and you can go back into dollars or pounds or whatever your currency is. Now the question is, and the question has always been, why would you off ramp? If you have $1 million sitting in Bitcoin, are you going to off ramp all $1 million in Bitcoin? Are you going to ride the wave? Are you going to take some out? Are you going to, how are you going to do it? If you have it in XRP goes parabolic, goes to $50, goes to $20, goes to $10, whatever it might be. Do you then bail? Are you selling everything? Is everyone bailing out and that's it? And you need a massive off ramp, or are you going to take a little bit and then let it go, or are you going to keep it going? But do you need a full off ramp to take all of your asset, to take all your investment, and meaning that you had zero faith? The only reason why you're in the platform is the quick gain, and as soon as you hit the gain, you don't have faith in the currency, you don't have faith in the technology, so you want to off ramp all of it. You want to take it all off, put it back into fiat, because that's where you feel more confident. So that's kind of the discussion. So Anders is saying, what if I told you? Now Panos is explaining what an AMM is. So AMM, what is AMM? It's like a self-running stall at a market that always has items to trade. The price of items isn't set by any one person, but it's determined by how much of each item is available. Supply and demand. That's interesting. Sounds like everything else. Supply and demand. If lots of people want to buy a particular item and start trading their items for it, the AMM adjusts the price so the item becomes more expensive. Now, if this is going to be an item, a product that you have listed and it's in an asset and you list 10 of them, now you get down to, you have 3 left. Now, all of a sudden, does the price change? Do you keep it? Do you then fill your inventory again? Is that what the AMM is for? Or is AMM really geared up towards the price of the asset? Is it pricing of NFT? Is it, I guess it's kind of endless what you do with it, as long as it's kind of finite what you have there. Does it then it makes your product more expensive? Is it kind of a bidding war, so to speak? If people want to get rid of an item and it starts piling up, the AMM makes it cheaper. So the way I think about an item, it could be an NFT. Let's say you have 10 NFTs and you're down to 2 NFTs and people are driving at the price. Now, all of a sudden, all 10 people are selling them, then the price tanks. But it seems like, people are like in the NFT space, there is no auto adjuster on the price point. People are setting their sell price point and they're manually setting it. But here's a trigger. Now, if it's a crypto asset, you're going on and buying a crypto asset, it's obviously impacted by the buy and sell walls. But here, this way, the AMM keeps the trading going by balancing supply and demand automatically without anyone having to manually set the prices. I guess that's interesting. We'd have to really dig more into it and get a really clear understanding of what product we're talking about. So Express says, I have some questions. If I put XRP into an AMM, will I earn XRP or some other liquidity token? If I put 10,000 XRP in AMM, price goes from 50 to 40 in one transaction. I pull my XRP out, so I still have 10,000 XRP, less quantity XRP or more quantity of XRP. You earn LP tokens. If you provide liquidity to XRP USDC, you essentially earn both XRP and USDC. As for the other, that's definitely not the case. This is not staking or a risk-free yield strategy. You don't just add XRP. You have to add and have exposure to both sides equally. This is a much more in-depth conversation. Man, there's a lot to unpack in this. I mean, there's definitely a huge amount to unpack on all of this to really dig in. So vets ain't not quite accurate. You're not earning yield by just holding XRP when the AMM is activated. You have to make your XRP available to be sold and bought by users using the AMM, where you're subject to market risk and impermanent loss. So, yeah, this we'll have to dig into this further on the next one. This is interesting. Definitely interesting, especially if we're looking at kind of at the DeFi space. People are looking to be able to take their XRP, put it someplace where you can start making some interest, make some money off of your holdings. Maybe the risk is too great. If it goes down, you're losing. If you're if you're earning, you're earning. You can earn money by holding XRP. Obviously, we've seen these platforms. That's the whole lawsuit over Celsius right now, is that people are earning interest off of Celsius, and that kind of collapsed, and then everybody's assets got tied up in that. So the question I would have for that through the AMM: does your asset get tied? Does it get tied up? Can you pull it out at any point? What happens if wherever this platform is it fully decentralized? Is there any central aspect to it that could potentially implode and tie up your asset? Or again, is it going strictly out into a decentralized function? That to me is interesting. Northeast Whitewater saying, I believe our utility will be realized in coming years. That being said, after watching The Big Short, I can imagine us little peasants forcing the price up and forcing early adoption. And that to me is really interesting, because I think overall this is probably the first time maybe in history that the smaller retail investors got into the space first. And then the institution investors kind of are following and trying to figure out, how do we take control back of the market? And it's a decentralized market. How do they get control of it when people were mining Bitcoin on their computers, and you have big Bitcoin holders that were, back in the early days, just mining out of their house. Now there's big conglomerates, setting up mining rigs and stuff like that, doing they're using a volcanic thermal fusion or whatever it is to power their Bitcoin miners. So lots of stuff we covered today. It was really a pleasure spending the time with you guys. Make sure you join us back. We do stream 3 days a week. We're 2 days over on Rumble, exclusive from YouTube. So, and we're over there Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we're here on YouTube, focused mostly on cryptocurrency. And we do that Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. When you join us over on Rumble, go check us out on Rumble. You can even just kind of pop over to the Rumble video right now, and you can give us a follow over there. Make sure you follow us, and then you get a notification whenever we go live on Rumble. We have people over on Rumble now that we're watching on the Rumble platform, because that's what they prefer. Then we're over here on YouTube, getting some engagement. We're obviously over on X as well. And the other thing is, if you're in the mood for some really amazing coffee, let me make sure I get the website out there accurately. Go to BadassYetisCafe.com, BadassYetisCafe.com. Go check out some really amazing coffee. We'll check you guys out tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, we will check you guys out on the next one. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing weekend. And we'll see you guys Sunday, 8 p.m. over there on Rumble. That's it. I'm out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.